Welcome to this module on case recommendation. In this module, we will be talking about how to conclude a case effectively, and we will also be talking about some common case recommendation mistakes that candidates tend to make, which derails their case interview performance. Now, recommendation is the final part of a case interview, where we take all the findings, all the insights, and distill them into a logical solution that addresses the key question. It's not about dumping every piece of information you've gathered, right? It's about distilling the key insights. As a consultant, when you're presenting to a room full of busy executives, you need to be top down, right? Executives do not have time for a detail laden presentation. They want you to get to the answer quickly, right? That's where your ability to synthesize effectively in a top down manner comes in, especially which is tested during the case recommendation part. Now, let's take the StreamPro example. We first start with the key question. The key question here is how can StreamPro achieve a $1 billion annual revenue increase within the next 3 years? Next, we start packaging our findings into a clear, concise recommendation that tells a story. So here's how you might present it, right? Or here's how I would present it to the interviewer. To achieve 1 billion revenue increase, StreamPro should focus on three key initiatives. One, expand into Latin America, a $700 million opportunity. Second, implement a price increase from $8 to $9 a month, a $400 million opportunity. And finally, StreamPro can achieve further revenue increase in excess of $1 billion by developing new non-subscription revenue streams such as targeted advertising and merchandise sales. Now, notice how I started with the big picture, the overarching recommendation, $1 billion revenue increase target, right? And then I provided the supporting arguments in terms of how client can achieve the $1 billion revenue increase. This is an example of the pyramid principle where your main argument is supported by multiple underlying sub-arguments. But we don't stop at the recommendation, right? In the next steps, we suggest risks to be analyzed and mitigated along with an implementation roadmap. See, we're not just giving advice, we are setting the client up for success. In this particular context, there could be pertinent risks the client should consider and mitigate for. For example, um, does StreamPro have the capabilities to execute these revenue growth initiatives? Could there be a potential strain on resources or overtaxing of resources as they manage the business as well as try to implement these growth initiatives? Finally, let's look at some common case recommendation mistakes to avoid. There are multiple pitfalls that I often see at the case recommendation stage. One of the biggest is failing to provide a definitive answer, right? When a client hires a consultant, he's looking for guidance, right? He's looking for a point of view, right? He's not looking for a wishy-washy list of options. So take a stand and make a clear recommendation. Provide a clear answer to the interviewer. Another mistake I see candidates making is they get bogged down in unnecessary details. Now, as a consultant, you have to hold executive attention. Executives are quite busy people. They don't have time for a detail laden presentation, right? They want you to get to the answer fast. So focus on the relevant insights and rationale. Leave out the unnecessary detail, right? Third, the mistake I often see candidates making is they fail to be top down. Always start with your answer or overarching recommendation and then try to layer in the supporting arguments, right? Think of it as a pyramid. The supporting arguments are pillars supporting your main answer. If your recommendation is structured in a top down manner, it's easier for audience or in this case the interviewer to follow your logic, right, and also buy into your conclusion. Let's recap what we have learned in this particular module. First, we focused on what a recommendation is, right? So, recommendation is about distilling findings into a clear, concise narrative that addresses the key question, right? The second important takeaway is always adopt a top down approach when structuring your conclusion or recommendation. Start with the overarching recommendation and then layer it with supporting arguments. Also, we learned that we should not stop at the recommendation. We should also provide next steps, including risk analysis. There could be an implementation plan that the client can take ahead, right, in order to operationalize the strategies or the actions that we have recommended. Finally, we talked about some common pitfalls to avoid when presenting your recommendation. Some common pitfalls that I typically see are: one, failing to give a definitive answer, right? Failing to give a clear point of view. Second is getting bogged down in details. And when you get bogged down in details or you provide a lot of unnecessary detail, the main message is lost, right? So focus on being top down, very crisp and clear. And finally, be top down in your recommendation. Focus on the overarching recommendation, focus on the main answer, and then layer in the supporting arguments. Thank you for listening. I